Welcome to All Worn Out. I'm your host, Warren Meredith. On the show today, Dave Brown of Big Motor Gasoline. They're a rock band out of Peterborough, and they're playing lots of shows this summer. So start your engines and let's get into it with Dave Brown. Hi, everybody. Welcome to All Worn Out. It's a podcast about music. It's a podcast about whatever you're passionate about, and it's a podcast about what our guests are passionate about. Today, I am joined by Dave Brown of Big Motor Gasoline, and they're a wicked southern rock band. Maybe, southern rock band out of Peterborough, Ontario. And I wanted to get into them because I think they've got a cool, gritty sound that's kind of similar to my own band, akin to anyways, and also because they're not from Ottawa, but they're from the area. And now I'm dropping my book. So yeah, they're from the region, and you guys have a different perspective on things, I think, than bands in the city.
Peterborough.
And what did I say?
The region.
Oh, sorry.
It's kind of a region.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes they say Eastern Ontario for us.
Yeah, it's true, absolutely. But definitely what I like about it is, like, bands from Ottawa, we're always looking for shows, or people are always complaining that there's not enough shows or gigs. And what I noticed about you guys is you don't need Ottawa for gigs whatsoever. And
we'd like to make it up here.
Well, I'm going to bring you. Taming Star is definitely going to bring you guys into Ottawa for a show.
Awesome.
I mean, absolutely.
I think I contacted Brass Monkey once.
Okay.
I don't think they got back to me.
Well, we'll get you in. That's ridiculous. I've looked at your shows and your gig list, and I thought it was very impressive. Check that out at bigmotorgasoline.com because it goes back years. It shows your history. And I was writing down the shows today because let me tell you something. I've always wanted to play Belleville, and I never played Belleville. And I've had people tell me that there's, like, big musicians that live there and are kind of, like, hidden away in the community, but they'll come out and support things. That's what I've been told.
The only place in Belleville, it was a small place. It was called Bistro 116 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But the best gig we had in Belleville was during COVID at the Empire Theater to 0 people.
Oh, my gosh.
It was during COVID, and they were nice enough to give all these bands chances, and you go on stage, and it was nice lights and everything, and they videoed for you. There you go. That was the best.
Wow.
We had to set up with masks on, and as soon as it was time to rock, you take the mask off and you rock.
We both lived through that time, and with bands. And I mean, what a wild experience, and to have the pictures of the glass thing in front of us when we're performing, and there's 50 people in the room, and they're each at a table, and there was the servers going around, and they're not asking you if you want beer, they're saying, can you make sure your mask is up, please? Just move it up, please. And it's no one's fault. Like we were under very strict whatever you're gonna call it, and but I noticed about Big Motor Gasoline, you guys have songs about politicians. Now, are you guys a political band in any way?
No, we're not at all. That song was written by our singer John Freitas before I entered the band, and I think he was watching a lot of CNN, and I think it was written like after 9/11. So that's really the only political song, but somehow it hit a chord with people, and people jumped on it. I know they played it at election time on some of the internet radio and stuff, but we are not political at all. We're more want to have a party.
Yeah, it sounds like I was reading. It's about fast cars. It's about drinking whiskey, having a good time with your friends, motorbikes. Are you guys into motorbikes?
That's pretty simple there, what you just said. But there's 2 guys, Roger and John, who ride the Harleys.
Okay.
They love them. They've done it all their life. They're not faker guys. And then Sterling, the drummer, and I, we ride bicycles.
Well, that's okay. As long as you've got, like, some of that authenticity in there, I think that probably helps and adds for the writing flavor and, what you guys are bringing to your audience energy-wise.
There's a video of ours called Iron Horse, sorry. And it was filmed during COVID. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't get together. So we sent John out there with his motorbike, and the guy who films this, he was just ahead in a truck lying down. That's how we made that video. And took a bunch of cell phone stuff and jammed her in there.
Yeah, it seems like you guys have a lot of fun, and you present yourselves, in my opinion, very well online. Like your website, I liked it. I mean, if you're doing research, like, or a little bit of reading beforehand, like I'm trying to do for these, it's excellent for me to go through and get some information on the band and what you guys like and what you guys sound like, all that. So let's start at the beginning for you. Where were you born, Dave Brown?
I knew that was the first question. I'm a Peterborough boy. I've never moved out of there. A lot of my friends did. In the 60s, a little older. But it was a good place to grow up. The music was great there. We had quite a few people successful come out of there. Sebastian Bach. I played in a battle of bands against him. Lost.
Now,
3 Days Grace.
Yeah. How old was Sebastian Bach when you competed against him in that battle of the bands? Or how old were you?
Well, geez, that was 84. So I was 20.
Oh, my goodness.
19 or 20. I don't know.
So he was in his prime. So you went up against...
Well,
No?
He wasn't in Sebastian. He wasn't like Sebastian Bach. Of course, what would you do? Battle of the bands against us?
So he wasn't quite
No,
as...
he hadn't left town yet.
But how was his vocal ability? Was he
He was getting there.
He was a scary
Yeah.
vocalist at that point?
Yeah. He liked the Rob Halford. And he did take lessons. He trained.
There's nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that. There's nothing wrong with focusing on a craft and zooming in. And, I mean, gosh, he definitely hit it.
He's still strong now.
Oh,
Must be
yeah.
54 now. He's about 5 years younger than me.
He's very, oh, God, yeah. Scary talent.
He's lived a life.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you're saying, 3 days,
3 days grace.
Yeah,
Well, some
exactly.
people may say Norwood, but they played a lot in Peterborough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they went, they all had to leave Peterborough, obviously. And another guy, I don't know if you know him, his name's Greg Wells, but he turned into a producer guy.
Okay,
and he's
yeah.
produced Adele and Katy Perry. Like he lives in L.A. now.
Yeah.
Like he's got talent, more talent in his finger than I do,
Well,
It's
a lot of
crazy.
these producers are they're pretty amazing. What their ears can tell them and how much they've studied their genre and how well they know it. And it's amazing. Like that's what I love about going into the studio and working with him, with our producer. It's so much fun.
So I had 2 older brothers, and one brother was in a band, and one brother had a record collection. So that was perfect for me. I could go through all the oldies and stuff, and then I could go watch my other brother play. So I got right into it there.
Yeah.
And then the sister, well, she actually lives in Canada. So I come up. I got a connection with Ottawa, actually. I came up when I was a kid a lot. My uncles lived downtown. We used to go run around the Parliament buildings. There was no security then.
No,
nothing.
there wasn't a lot when I was a kid. There wasn't a
No.
lot even 15, 25 years ago. There wasn't a lot going on.
In the
even.
Prime Minister's house, you could
Yeah.
pretty much walk.
Yeah.
That's why Creshan had intruders there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. Those were different times. That's when I guess we still bragged about keeping our doors unlocked and things like that, and safe neighborhoods. And
Right.
yeah, it's still a great place. It's still pretty safe, but it's not the same. It's changing every day for sure.
Well, I like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were talking about Sebastian Bach, and you guys did get to open for him. What was that experience like?
It was kind of just get you in there, get you out of there sort of thing.
I understand completely.
Yeah, they just wanted to sell some local tickets, I guess. And yeah, they didn't even really ask us to come backstage or anything.
Nothing special,
No.
eh? They
But
didn't.
that was fine. We sat out by our merch booth and met the fans and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys had a great time and were professionals and enjoyed yourselves, and that's what it's all
The promoter
about.
was actually from up here in Ottawa.
Okay.
A guy named Brandon Bird.
Okay, right on. And then also you played with Bonds of Mara. What was that like?
Yeah, do you know who they are?
They're a super group, it says on your website, and I was
Yeah.
trying to remember who they were.
I don't think the supergroup thing ever went anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guitar player from My Darkest Days, a drummer from Default, bass player from Finger 11,
Yeah, that's right.
and they changed singer. Oh, they had the old I Mother Earth singer.
Okay.
The second I Mother Earth singer.
Okay, that's
Brian
right.
Byrne.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then shortly after he left, and they got some other singer, and they just kind of whatever.
Well, commitment, right? Everybody has to want to row that canoe
Right.
in unison, or you're not going nowhere, especially
Right.
when you hit some rapids.
We had one with Harem Scarum, but then the COVID cut that off.
Oh,
I was
gosh.
really looking forward to that one.
Well, maybe it'll come back around.
Yeah, maybe. I kind of wanted to meet Harry Hess. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Sometimes meeting these people is amazing. And sometimes it's like they say, meeting your heroes can be
Right.
very underwhelming. And sometimes it can be exactly what you imagined. And
Right.
yeah, I remember meeting the London Choir Boys, and it was a great story experience because I didn't really know who they were when I first
Okay.
got booked to open for them. And then I researched them, and I was like, wow, that's quite the story.
Yeah.
Quite the story. And so I went up and did my sound check, and the guys came over and they were like, yeah, we're going to go get Spike. We want him to see you tonight. We want him to see you do your sound check. Like, we don't want him to miss you. Because the Spike was on a regime that Sharon Osbourne had set up for them when she managed them for about 3 years. So she came in and set up basically drug safety protocols. So, like, ways to make sure that Spike wouldn't die or run out of energy on a tour. And
handler.
so, yeah, like he had a schedule. So he had to be in the hotel till this time, then this and this and this.
Holy.
And so they were like, yeah, we're going to go get him and bring him because we want him to see you guys. We think you're cool.
That's cool.
And that was a very fun night, just based on getting to talk to those guys and hear their stories about England and touring with Guns N' Roses, touring with Rolling Stones, and like what those guys are like. It was fun, you know?
Very cool. It's always cool when one person, wants to see you. Right? Gives you a little inspiration.
It's pretty amazing
Yeah.
what a little energy does and how we can share energy like that. Which brings me to Anvil, speaking about cool bands. I've never opened for Anvil, and how was that?
It was all right. We got a good sound check. It was really crowded stage because Rob Reiner has a huge drum set, and it was on Red Dog, which I'll talk to you about later.
Yes.
So our drummer has a big set. His cymbal stands were right on the edge of the stage. So we had no room to begin with. But half hour to play, bing bang, we were done right in a half hour. And that was it. They didn't really chat with us or anything. And I don't care.
It's like that most of the time. You know, it really is. Like,
if they want to chat, that's fine. But if they don't, I don't bug them.
In my opening gigs, it's 50-50.
Yeah.
It's hit or miss. Like sometimes they're very busy and they're moving and they're gone, or they're closing that door and they're having time with them, whatever it might be. And sometimes they want to talk. It's a hit or miss thing.
Right.
And but yeah, absolutely.
Who I really wanted to open for, because they came through Peterborough quite a few times, is the Lazies.
Okay.
And I know you did.
Oh, 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, 3 times?
Yeah.
Because I went to see them once, and they had no opening band.
Oh, wow.
And it pissed me off, because there I was. I could have been there. I don't know. But that's just the way it goes.
I'll tell you this about the Lazies. They're incredibly energetic and outspoken.
Yeah.
At least Leon is. Leon's got no fear, for better or worse. Love you, Leon. And always for better, because obviously he's a killer frontman.
I did chat with Maddie and the bass player, the old one, Willie.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Because I just go to the bass players, right? And
Maddie strikes me as a real kind,
Yeah.
sweet dude. Like
sure.
all my conversations with him were just very low key, and he just seems very genuine.
Yeah.
And you know when you're talking to Leon that he's genuine.
Yeah.
He's loud and he's a character, but he's being Leon.
Right.
And I think that's what everyone loves about him.
And there's another one. Can't get arrested in Australia.
Wow.
People love him over here.
Yeah,
Right?
it's wild that they don't get respect over there. You know, I think their song charted #1 over here this year, and it has not got any plays in Australia.
That's weird, eh?
I think it's insulting. I'd be insulted if I was having that experience here and Australia was giving me love, but Canada was ignoring that. I would be miffed about that.
Yeah.
Um,
It's radio, right?
yeah,
The taste, whatever.
And I guess like what we've learned by being opening bands is like we're there to make sure that crowd gets off to a good start and make sure that it's packed and make sure that everyone has a great, and we know that, and that's, it's a thrill for us. I know it is for you as it is for me, just to be part of it.
And don't overstay your welcome.
Exactly. Okay, so you guys are described as working man's rock and roll. Southern rock, fast cars, drinking whiskey. Is there anything else to you guys? Is it go any deeper than that?
We have families, and we're not out of control.
Are you sure, man? Come on.
Yeah. Well, you got to write stuff up for yourself.
Yeah.
And we get, people give us opinions and stuff, and you pull them all together, and you try and write a bio.
Yeah.
Which I hate doing.
Yeah.
I can't write about myself.
I know.
So I guess we're south of Highway 7, if you consider that southern.
Well, people ask me, it was interesting. When I moved to Toronto for college, all of a sudden, all these people in my class were like, why do you have a southern accent? And I was like,
really?
Yeah. And like a lot of people in Toronto started asking me, well, why do you have a southern accent? And what they were detecting was an Ottawa Valley accent and just a hint of it. Not even anything major, but I guess if you... and the way my producer puts it is that I have a whine to my voice. So whenever we went to originally meet him and we were trying to figure out where the voice kind of fits best, and it's like, well, there's kind of a whine, there's kind of a wee in the back of that voice.
Really?
Yeah. So I think there's something to the music attaching to the vocalist, right? So your vocalist has that smoky southern sound, and then you guys are doing what's correct, and that's building around that authentic voice.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do. And that's where genres, I believe, kind of come from, is you need a great vocalist and you need to kind of...
Our live vocals are different because we've never recorded Roger and I singing. So we're going to try that next record. But yeah, John does all the vocals on the CD. So we leave it to him because, I tried and I just fell flat in my face there. And I said, oh, I'm done. But I think I've gotten a little better since then.
Absolutely. If you've been practicing, you have been. And one thing I can say is I love doing group vocals. Like Taming Sorry has a lot of like chants and a lot of just like spoken back choruses and stuff like that, or very short backing vocals.
I caught all that with Alex, your bass player, and your old drummer.
Yeah. With Adam, yeah. And we will, even everybody in the band, even for certain parts, we'll be in the studio and we'll be pointing this way, then we'll turn this way, and it's just fun. It's kind of like a finishing touch to the album.
Right.
You do it at the very end, and yeah. So I think you're going to enjoy it.
Sometimes I don't know how harmonies work all the time, but if they sound good, why do you got to pick it apart and say you can't do that?
I think it's the best way to go about it, right? And if you can find it on your guitar or find it on a piano, then you can get it no problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
no, our singer always says pick a guitar up when you're playing so you can hear all those notes in that chord. I get a little lazy, but...
Yeah, well, he's not wrong. He's not
wrong.
From one singer to another singer. No, I'm just joking. So what else? The writing, recording process for you guys. So we were just kind of briefly speaking about it. So when you're writing a song, who's starting it off?
Well, it can start different ways. Roger usually comes with a song kind of complete, or John will come with something. And I'm big on the arrangements, doing that. So we all add our parts. And for reasons, we just say Big Motor Gasoline wrote it. John is the main lyricist.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never been great with words. So, sometimes it can just, it can come from a riff. And then you build it around that.
I focus on that style personally. Like what you just described is very similar to Taming Sorry, where we say Taming Sorry wrote the song. And I do like 95% of the lyrics.
Right.
But when it comes to recording day, I'll tell you, like, I've got my notebook out and the laptop, and I've got my bass player here, and I'm going, go through this with me, like, word for word, as a bouncing off board. Like, Is this bad? Is this too many words? Or should we shorten it?
Well, if he's singing, he'll know what words he wants to use, right?
Yeah.
And he has said, I can't sing other people's lyrics all the time because it doesn't fit in a certain cadence and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we leave that to him.
Cool. Right? You guys have a way that it works, and that makes sense, the way that you're doing it.
And I've even saved songs from my cell phone. I got a little Zoom recorder now, but I save it. And those guys don't know I'm saving it. And I'll bring it back. Hey, what about this one? Hey, when did we do that? I said, fine. We did that 3 months ago.
We do that at Jam.
I don't remember that. I said, well, let's work on that.
Yep. Always get a little recording, a crappy recording. Always. It doesn't matter how, like, you're not sharing it. It's just for you guys to go back, hear it, and practice, extrapolate on it, bring out some more cool pieces. And again, very similar to what we do. So that's cool to hear. What else there? So when you guys record, you go somewhere, or who takes care of that?
We I wasn't there for the first album. I could tell you about it. Just they recorded it in a church.
Oh.
And it's funny, the guys don't like it when they listen back to it, but it was enough to grab me and get me to go for an audition and get into the band. So I can't tell you much about the first album, but the second and third album, we found a guy named Andy Thompson who lives in just south of Campbellford, Northumberland Studios 29. Hey, Andy. And he's like our fifth Beatle.
Awesome.
He's older than us. He's 70, but he's got experience out the wing wang and stories. We just love going. His studio's got, all the Pro Tools and everything, but it's a barn. It's not fancy, but it's so comfortable.
Very high ceiling.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about what might have grabbed you about that church album is, I mean, churches have that fantastic acoustics naturally built into them. Yeah. And I mean, I'm trying to think of the place in Hamilton, North by something. It's a very famous studio, and it's basically a rebuilt church.
That wouldn't be Daniel Anwil's, would it?
Maybe. Yeah. And so it's a desirable thing for producers. But I mean, what you just described is kind of next level, right?
Yeah. So he put up with us. We got all our stupid jokes and stuff, but he seemed to like us, and we're sticking with him.
Did he push you around? Does he try and produce you, or does he just stick to engineering?
No, he didn't push us around, but he told us when things weren't right.
Good.
And it worked out.
Excellent.
And I don't think there's any need to go anywhere else,
If you guys are liking the product, that's what matters.
Yeah.
If what matters most is that the band is proud of what they're putting out so that they can properly promote it, properly play it on stage for the next year to 2 years to however long.
Right.
And, be proud of it,
There's lead guitar lines that our guitar player has thrown out that I've just loved. And I go, oh, no, man, that was the one. And then he'll do something else. I said, yeah, that's a good replacement.
I mean, I love riffs. As a singer who doesn't play guitar very well, I can strum guitar, but I can't really play guitar. And so I really love it when our lead brings out those riffs, and I just, yay.
Do you write with a guitar or a piano?
I write with a guitar. Mostly, yeah. I mean, sometimes I'll think about backgrounds mostly with piano now. It's kind of weird, but we don't use it yet, although I've always wanted to bring in a Hammond organ, of course, into some of those choruses. And, I've been saying to the guys, I'd love to bring in a saxophone on the next album and, expand and try some different instruments out.
Well, that's what Andy does for us, too, because we wanted the Hammond B3. That's the only sound we wanted.
Exactly.
We didn't want any 80s big wash.
No.
I did not. No one wanted that.
It doesn't go with what you're doing, right?
No.
And you know exactly what fits.
And we love to put lots of percussion in there. Like that tambourine makes songs move.
Yeah,
Just
man.
that little thing.
Oh, yeah. And I remember our producer showing us how to play the tambourine properly, and I was, kind of astonished. I was like, because I thought I was going to pick it up and do it. And he's like, no, you don't know what you're doing. Give that to me.
It's not easy.
And he started doing this thing, and I was like, okay, so there's, an actual style to it. There's a kind of a skill to it.
We like to bring people up on stage and just let them do
Of course. Have fun with the rhythm. Yeah. My 10-month-old niece, she likes to shake a little egg with shaker. Look at everyone. Sasha's bothering Dave again. She's not allowing the guests to...
Go lie down, Sasha. Go lie down.
Go lay down.
Go lie down.
Stop it, Sasha. Let me ask you...
The studio that we like to add one instrument every album, and the second album where I joined, the vibra slap. You know what that is?
No.
It's like in...
Sorry, I'm just going to push Sasha, but keep going.
Like in the Aerosmith, they use that in Sweet Emotion,
Come here, Sasha.
The little background.
Come here. Okay, we have it on one of our songs.
Oh, you do?
Stay down.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
the wooden ones, they sustain real short, but if you get a metal one, it'll go real long.
Yeah, now I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, sometimes our producer pulls out weird doohickeys, and I think that's one of them that
Yeah.
he used.
And then also Andy played the, I forgot what it's called. It's keyboard. Yeah, it's gone now.
MIDI or something like
No,
that? No. Anyway, so his name's Andy Thompson, you were
Yeah,
saying?
Andy Thompson, yeah.
Okay, very cool. So you guys have found it. So you're not the original member, but I mean, you seem like you're one of the band's leaders.
Well, I do the business stuff. I don't know. It just got dumped on me, I guess. But I'm happy with that.
Obviously,
my role. It's part of my role, right?
They needed you to come and step in, and now
Well-
you're a big part of the band.
Yeah, they needed a bass player and a drummer because they lost both of them at the same time. And the way I got in the band, I was just sitting at home. It was my birthday. I was drinking alone. And I don't know. I wasn't feeling sorry for myself or anything. But I had quit cover bands.
Yeah.
And I hadn't played in 2 years. I knew I was going to do something, but I knew didn't want to be cover bands again. And this guy phones me. He got my name from another mutual friend. And we talked for a half hour right off the bat. He was a stranger to me, but we talked for a half hour. I said, yeah, I'll listen to that album. Sure. You sound cool. I listened to the album. I go, wow. And he said, oh, we're trying to get this other bass player, but we don't have a drummer. I said, geez, I got to get out there. They're trying out other people. So I got a friend of mine. He said, hey, I'll give you a 6-pack. You just come to this jam with me and improvise some stuff? Yeah, sure. So we go out, we meet the guys, and they were more interested in the drummer than me. It was my audition, but I just brought it, right? It all worked out. They took both of us, and then the drummer left, and we got a different drummer.
And what matters is that the people are committed that are in the band, and that they share the same common goals and dreams. And obviously, you've stuck it out with those people that want that, and you guys have played very cool shows, recorded very cool music. And I want to get into some of the other places that you've played, because I'm just curious. So Trenton, is it cool to play in Trenton? Have you played there before?
No, we got one coming up in September.
Okay, cool.
It's just a campground, but I think they're going to have like 400 people camping there.
That's wicked.
It's like $40 and you got 2 bands a night.
They're
not making any money, but...
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
And like, where's Buckhorn?
Buckhorn is north of Peterborough. It's right on the canal system. You got the Rideau Canal. We got the Trent Canal. So it's right on the water. It's really small.
Little town.
Yeah.
Cool. And Marmora Glen, is that very close to Peterborough?
Marmora.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Marmora. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's spelled Marmora. Yeah.
No, my bad.
Marmora is where we practice.
Okay.
I drive to Marmora because John lives in Marmora and Roger lives in Tweed.
Okay.
So we all meet there. John grew up in Toronto, but he moved to the country. Now he calls himself a hillbilly.
Wow.
But he grew up in Scarborough, right? So yeah, that's where it all happens in Marmora.
Well, that's like the people out here in Ottawa who are from Stittsville or Canada. I'm calling you folks out right now. I was born in the country. You're not in the country. I don't care how many nights you go to the Crazy Horse. It doesn't make you... it's a very popular bar in Canada. People like to go... The kids like to go to it.
The Crazy Horse.
They used to back in the day. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, and where's Alliston?
Alliston's... it would be southwest of Barrie.
Chrome and Thunder Blues Fest.
Yeah, that was just Friday night.
That sounds
it's
like
the biker thing.
Very cool.
Yeah, the bikers like us.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So, and they're great. They treat us great. No hassles ever. There's no like fighting and shit like that. They just love music and they like to be around people that like that, right? So yeah, we trucked up there and we did a hour and a half set. I think there were 6 bands on that day.
Okay.
And then on Saturday, they had 8 bands starting at 11 in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got to tell you I haven't played many biker shows, but we did play one. So I'm going to tell you that story, and you tell me if like there's any common threads here. So our drummer Adam booked this show in his hometown and back in Edmundston, New Brunswick. And we were going to go there, and we were going to be raising money for the children's breakfast program for the schools.
Nice.
So we get there and they're like, yeah, the Hells Angels are putting it on, and they're friends with the police and they're friends with the firefighters, and they're going to be here too.
Okay.
And like, so the firefighters were cooking, the Hells Angels were there as well, but they weren't wearing their vests. There was only one guy wearing two guys wearing their vests.
Must have been a reason for that.
Yeah, well, I think so. Like, the two that were wearing the vests were the bosses of like all of New Brunswick.
Okay, yeah.
And everyone else was not wearing it. And so then like there was a fashion show that was like afterwards, and so they brought a bunch of strippers out to do the fashion show, which was cool. They were all having a good time, and like when they finished at the end of the night, they went up to this guy wearing the vest, and like he'd hug them and like put into their back pocket. He'd reach in and stick into their back pocket what he was paying them, I guess. Like,
okay.
Little bum rub, out we go, and then they go, and the next girl come over. And I was like, wow, like what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
And there was like a trailer when we got that we played on, like a back of a truck trailer, you know, like,
okay, yeah.
And they had like 1,000 extension cords going, like plugged into like a web because they didn't have the right stuff, and like everything worked out.
Did they have a proper sound man?
No, I don't think so. Like
they were just kind of doing it.
It was just sort of like, just like I don't know enough to say it for sure, but I think prospects were being told like, go and figure this out. Like, go do this now. Go get the electrical.
Okay.
Go get this. Go get that. You know?
Okay, I haven't had that experience.
Yeah, like it was kind of wild. Like it was fine, and then like when the bikes came all in to get the food,
that's cool.
It was so amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, a huge parade, and I thought that was amazing. But I mean, it was a great experience overall, just different than what I'm used to, you know?
No, I haven't had, like I said, I haven't had that, but they usually have proper sound man and everything. And like I said, they treat us great. But the ladies, one show, they did a wet sheet t-shirt contest, and actually the singer's girlfriend won it. I don't know if it was rigged or not.
Well,
honestly, and then they had the painted ladies contest.
Okay.
So topless girls with paint. Yeah. So they're a different culture.
Yeah, man. But it's old school rock and roll, as we could say. It sounds like stuff you would hear about going on all the time in the 70s.
Yeah.
And now it still goes on now too, you know. People just having fun. As long as everyone's having fun, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Well, I'm sure they see worse things at raves, right?
There's worse things everywhere, every day, right? And in all kinds of situations. So, anyways, just rock and roll party.
Yeah.
So that's really cool to hear about. And you, like you said, you have two motorcyclists in the band that like Harleys and
old cars.
And then you got the bicycle.
Roger has a 57 Chevy, and John has a new one, a 32, I don't know, Ford, Chevy. I'm not a car guy.
How do you
Looks like a roadster.
Yeah.
Actually, he drove one of them around in our Double Dog Dare video. It's a yellow one.
Double Dog. What is your YouTube channel? Does it have an easy link to get to? Or I'm going to put the links below, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, I can get that. It's just bigmoregasoline.com.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, go there, and all their links to everything are there, actually. Yeah. But I'm going to put more links but bigmotorgasoline.com, because you guys got a lot of videos.
Well, we got a few. I like to do more. Like I always got to push the guys to do videos.
I do. Yeah. I'm the same way, but I really love doing them. So
do you find they're just like a fun day?
An amazing day.
You got to have some organization, but it's not what I do, so I have fun doing it.
Some of them are just the best days ever, you know? Absolutely. Memories that just go on.
Yours look like fun.
They're
Swimming,
so much fun.
Pirates.
Yeah, so much fun.
Like, we don't have costumes yet, but one day.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We just go overboard, or at least we did at different times, but we love doing it, and we had people that wanted to feed into it, so we're like, awesome, let's do it. I mean, we did the one at the roller rink in Napanee. Yeah. And like then not long after that, roller rink burnt down. It was like, and like crazy stuff went on, and like so now we've kind of time capsuled this this place right before it was never to be anymore.
I've played in 3 hotels over my life that have burned down like shortly afterwards.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So do you guys know? Well, I know you guys know. So let me ask you about your relationship or what you think of Lowry Mills.
Um,
You played with them in 2022.
2022. That was down in Kingston and Overtime.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. That's where we met them, and the Nighttime Drive guys too.
Yeah, those are both buddies of mine.
Yeah.
Jordan and Jay from Nighttime Drive.
Right.
But
Jordan was real nice to me. He said nice things.
He is so cool, man.
Yeah. And Jay.
Yes,
Jay was in the
also.
band. But Jay's not in the band. He just is behind the scenes now. That's what Jordan told me last time.
Oh, yeah.
They have another guitar player that they play with now.
Yeah.
But Jay still writes and stuff with
Yeah.
them.
And then Nighttime Drive, they've got Jay. They've got...
Jay, the singer.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're very cool guys as well. So I'm going to have those guys on the show. Jordan, I don't have you booked yet, but let's hurry up and get you booked,
Yeah, Jordan, get up here.
Jordan's good stuff. I
Yeah.
love him. And
he's close by, right?
he's not too...
Sharbot Lake? Or
Kingston area, something around Kingston. So let me ask you about the legendary, now no longer, Red Dog in Peterborough.
Dog.
Because I played a few shows there
I heard you talking about it.
in my time, but not during its heyday. And I was told by people that there was stories about underneath the Red Dog and about smacking the thing or something before you go under, and that there used to be parties underneath supposedly as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe you could tell me about what the Red Dog was like in its heyday.
What I know of its history, before I could go to bars, it was called the American. And it was probably just an ale house. Lots of guys drinking beer and stuff. But when I became of age, they had the big room, a side room, and then down below it was called the Underdog.
Yes.
They were always packed.
Yes.
They were always well kept and clean, and they weren't falling apart.
Yeah.
So, they had lots of bands. I went and saw Sloan there. I saw Big Sugar, a band called Airborne from Australia.
Oh yeah, Airborne, so good.
And they had an air raid siren in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
It's the loudest thing I've ever heard. Yeah. So I've seen lots of bands in there and got to do my cover thing when I was doing that. And the last few years, they didn't want to put any money into it.
Yeah, I mean, it was rough. When I was there, it was rough for sure. But it still had great sound and an amazing atmosphere to it.
Yeah, good sound, man. And the guy, there was only 2 employees at that point. Yeah, do what you want.
Yeah.
Never told us what to do, ever.
Yeah.
It was kind of like my own CBGBs from the old New York down where all those punk bands got started. And I didn't care. I just loved it.
Yeah, exactly.
But the ladies didn't want to come down. And I understand. The washrooms were terrible.
It was scary. That one, the guys' washroom, anyways, was
that too.
Was like when I looked in the guys' washroom, I seriously thought it was Saw, like the movie Saw, and I thought I was gonna walk in there and there'd be a guy chained to the wall who was like, "Don't come in here, like you're doomed," But
it's gone. You can't get it back.
I know.
We're losing our venues in Peterborough.
Oh no!
Down the street, there was another fair good size. It's gone. But the new owners of the Red Dog ran out of money.
Okay.
So it's up for sale again, and it's just sitting there.
Yeah, we played in the now defunct McCloskey's in Chesterville, because I'm from Chesterville, Ontario. And this bar was open in early 1900s. It's a very old building. And so whoever decided to open it up and take it on, it was a very big challenge. And I kind of knew, guys, this is a limited time opportunity.
Right.
It'll be here, but I don't know for how long,
Right.
So I'm glad we got to get into that history and experience it. And the same with the Red Dog. I'm glad we at least got to feel the stage out and feel the room out and sit at the bar. Like you said, the different rooms makes it a very intriguing setup. It made it feel kind of old school, the way you could go into this room and the doors closed, and we liked it there.
I got some memorabilia from the place before it closed down.
The first place we played in Peterborough was the Garnet, and the stage was so tiny.
Small.
It was we were packed in there but I think it was good because we didn't know that many people except our bass players. Of course, lived in Peterborough for a while. So
we try and stay away from the small stuff. So if you kind of set what you want to do, you got to stick to it. So you'll have less gigs. Of course, you could get more if you played small places.
I think that's a pretty important thing you just said. For bands listening, I mean,
your time's important, right?
You can't oversaturate your market, which is basically your hometown, and that's what I liked about looking at the schedule and why I'm bringing up all these different towns and places, because it's not about playing necessarily a big city or necessarily about traveling 10 hours. It's about finding communities that are looking for music, live music, and you guys are able to do that successfully, and that's what I applaud you on. And I see some bands in Ottawa doing it, but not enough. And
Right.
even I'm criticizing myself as well. Like, get out there, go to Cornwall, go wherever's around Ottawa, go to Perth or wherever it is.
But
and
if you want people, sometimes just go play a party.
Yes.
Some people throw big parties out in the country.
yeah,
Yeah, and it, yeah, it might not be the greatest stage or the greatest sound or whatever, but you got people,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're doing a few parties coming up this August, and I'm happy as shit about it.
Hell yeah, there's nothing wrong with it playing a party. In fact, it's
Yeah.
got a great vibe to it, and
They'll buy some T-shirts or something, make up for it.
I got to be careful. I mean, I'm a lightweight, so in those situations where I get social, if I can't drink too much beforehand, but I mean,
No.
otherwise, because that's just me though. I'm like 5'7", and
Yeah, I like to leave that till after the show.
Yeah, I do. Well, I do my best, try and be a good boy.
Well, one or two to loosen up.
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
But you want to keep the performance tight, and
Sure.
you want to do what you rehearsed, not
Yeah.
get up there and all of a sudden it's a completely new show, or turn into what
A new
happened.
a new show.
like that girl who was singing the national anthem in the
Did
States.
you see
and
that?
Yeah,
Someone showed me that.
very painful. And then her response on Twitter the next day was that she was drunk. And then all the memes, like, she apologized and said, like, no bullshit, basically, I was drunk. And so then people were memeing it, of course, immediately. And it was pictures of Ozzy saying, so I heard you can't perform when you're drunk or whatever, right? And he's like, there, like, and
geez.
it's true. Some people excel under these situations, but I tell musicians, especially young musicians, the reason why, like, when I went to theater school and they told us, like, if you're into drugs, like, get out now. Like, if you think this is about getting high and,
Right.
getting lifted, and,
yeah.
like, it's not about that, because
Oh.
what we want to train you to do, and this is the same for music, what we want to teach you to do is perform the same way every time without needing anything. Just getting
Right.
up there and enjoying yourself for what it is, because
for sure.
you don't want it to be ruined. Look at Robin Williams. I mean, the stories we heard about him, how comedy was kind of ruined for him by drug use. And we know, like, Chris Cornell and all
Yeah.
these different people with different drug histories, it kind of ruins it down the road. I
sure.
think, and well, that was my experience. I had my experience with it, and
No, I've had previous bands where people have got addicted and it just goes nowhere.
exactly, and
But down.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, loss of money, loss of focus, loss of giving a crap, all of that,
Mm.
and it kind of ruins. Like I said, at first you're like, oh, I'm so good on this when I'm performing, and then you watch a video back
Yeah,
and you're like,
no, you're not.
no, I was very energetic, but I
Yeah.
actually was, like, flat a lot, or like
Right.
whatever it was,
Yeah.
Okay. So when you guys are you preparing your fourth album now? Because you
There-
just released in 2023,
Right.
and so we just released in 2023.
Yeah, we
and-
have a couple songs that are starting, but we've been distracted with some personal issues and life issues and stuff.
Yep.
And the summertime is usually time to do gigs, so probably when the fall rolls around again, we'll get writing again. But here's the dilemma that I go through: is it albums or is it singles?
Oh.
Yeah, I love albums.
Right.
I usually sequence them. That's my job, and I put them together and everything like that. I like to listen to the whole album, but it's all singles, right? Well, I think I've decided I don't want to do singles. We'll just do it the way we want. I won't make as many CDs anymore, but it's all online and stuff. If people want to listen to it that way, yeah, there it is for you. I'm happy for you to listen to it, but here's what I really want you to listen to. Look at the pictures, read the notes.
Right.
Yeah.
Promotionally, and this is a great conversation, and all the bands today have to think about this. All the artists have to think about it. Physical copies versus internet. Are you going to do a single? Are you going to release a few singles and then an EP? What's the best way? When we did singles, It was great when we planned properly, when we lined up all the ducks in a row. And it's a lot of ducks. Man, oh man, there's a lot of ducks.
So how many songs would you do when you went into the studio?
So it depended, but I think like for Crazy, for example, we did like 2. We'd do 2 at a time. Okay. And then we would, out of the 2, pick which one we felt was the best. And that's what we would lead out with as the single, I guess, that we liked. And the other one, I think, was a ballad. Like once we did a ballad and one that was heavy. But yeah, generally 2 at a time.
2 at a time. Yeah.
But I mean, that was what we could afford. See, we were going to the studio in Toronto, and that was like just what we could afford at that time. Full album was very, very, very expensive, and still is.
I was wondering why you went to Toronto. Like, there's got to be good studios around Ottawa, is there not? I don't know.
So what I would say is, there's nothing wrong with the studios. What I would say is that we went with a producer. So we went with somebody who has an ear, somebody who was, well, fantastic resume. So Rosse Citrillo was trained by a lot of amazing people.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Worked with some amazing people from the Southern rock genre, and his band is touring the UK right now. They're one of the up and coming Southern rock bands of Canada. They're called the Commoners. So you should check them out. Very, very cool.
I will.
But yeah, we wanted to get serious. We didn't feel like we were taking it seriously enough and that we had something to give. I had come out of another situation. Coming to this, I was like, I'm not dicking around. I want to make this count. Let's make it count. I want to throw something, and I want to stick at the wall. And I think I know how to do it, but it's going to take this, and this, which is mostly money, and more money.
Yeah.
Besides the dedication and the teamwork, which is you take for granted when it's working, but then as soon as it's gone, as soon as you have one member or 2 members who are a little off and whatever, you're like, oh, damn it, I need that team back at 100%. But when we went to Toronto and recorded, it was everything we'd hoped for, and a lot of people don't get that. A lot of people go and they don't get what they want, or they're not prepared to be pushed. And if you go work with a producer, then you need to be prepared that their ear is incredibly particular.
Right.
They're not interested in what you're hearing a lot of the time. They're like, no, try what I'm hearing. And then, when we first started, there was a band of guys, and I don't want to say older guys, but they were a blues band and pretty good guys. And they were playing some good festivals at the time. And what our producer would say to us is, I love working with you guys versus them because they don't want to listen to anything I say. Oh, yeah. They want to treat me like I'm an engineer and like I haven't done 1,000 albums. And like they just want to treat me like, yeah, I sit here and push play, so that's what I do. Okay, you're paying me, so in the end, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to do this. But he says, but what I love about Taming Sorry is like you guys give a crap about what I'm saying, and then you take it and you go with it. And maybe I took it to heart too much, but I keep telling this story, but I always will. Down with the Devil, the first song that got Taming Sorry saw a little bit of recognition, a little bit of love. He told me, like, those are horrible lyrics, Warren. You go back and, like, rewrite those lyrics right now.
Oh, before you...
Like, I took it in, like, he's like, I love this song. I love the hooks. But, Warren, your lyrics are garbage. And
Is that right?
Yeah, like, please go and change them. Oh, but Ross, they're about, like, history and this and that's why. He's like, they're nerdy lyrics.
Did he say garbage?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, working with producers, like, kind of like working with Simon Cowell, but just, like, not quite that bad, but, like, you work towards having this honesty with them so that, like, they can tell you, like, no, like, that's not good, or be like, and then when they tell you, oh, yes, then you get this feeling of elation, and you're like, yeah, I did it, and I climbed the mountain. And
I remember Metallica saying no one produces Metallica until Bob Rock got at him and said, you listen to me.
Yeah. And those,
what happened, right?
Those videos are insane. Like where Bob's like, I've waited 3 months. I'll wait another 3 months for the solo for one of their big hits. Right. And like, he's like, I don't know, man, maybe it'll come out today. Maybe it won't. And Bob's like, I don't care. Like I said, I'll just keep waiting. Right. And like, I was talking, and maybe I think it was an episode or 2 ago, that a band we opened for, The Damn Truth, out of Montreal, they decided pony up and go record with Bob Rock in Vancouver. And it's $5,000 a song about essentially. I don't want to say that exactly because I don't know, but ballpark range. Yeah. It's not cheap to record a song with Bob Rock. because he's the premier rock
that's what he does,
producer
right?
in the country.
Right.
So if you're going to do it, it's kind of like you got to bet everything on your music, bet everything on the quality of your songwriting. But again, I know why they did it. And it's not because they wanted to be famous or they wanted attention. They did it because they want the experience that their heroes got. And that's the same reason I went to a producer, was I wanted the exact same experience as being pushed by somebody as all my heroes did in the 70s.
I've never thought of it that way.
Like all my heroes, like none of them got to just do what they want, except for people like Jimmy, who were like above and like virtuosos to the point that they were surpassing the ears of producers. And these musicians are few and far between.
Yeah,
and too many people today believe, young people, up and coming musicians believe, I can do everything. I can learn everything. I figured it all out. And it's like, maybe.
Who would have told Jimi Hendrix that? That's garbage.
Yeah, you know, Jimmy was special, right? And I mean, he was the one telling people garbage. So Jimmy kicked his drummer out in a recording session. Said, "Get out! You're not getting this." And then he played the drums. So so Jimmy did stuff like that. And same thing with McCartney. And what George Harrison said was what was horrible for him, and why he was always so kind of down a bit on his experience with John and Paul, was they were very hard on him, and they wanted it their way. Like George would play guitar his way, and then Paul would be like, nah, that's not how I'm hearing it. And John would be like, yeah, I agree with Paul. That's not how I'm hearing it. And so George kind of later on took on the attitude of, I don't need you guys to tell me what's good. Like, I'm a Beatle. I'm a Beatle on my own right, and I know what I'm doing. Right. Sasha, leave Dave alone. Sorry, everybody. She loves Dave.
She's a camera hog.
Yeah.
Okay, go lie down.
Go lay down. Leave Dave alone.
You can lie right there.
Yeah, go down. Sorry, Dave.
It's all right.
But yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted, and I wanted to also see if I could get like a factor grant or something like that, and those are heartbreaking too. Like,
I've wanted to apply for that. It's like hard to apply, isn't it?
We got an 10-page
5
one time, and you need to get an 88. And so, like, it's like very...
What's this, a score?
Yeah, they give you a score. Okay. At least they used to. I don't know if they still do. Go and lay down, Sasha. Sorry, Dave. Yeah, so they used to give you a score and comments, but I don't know if they do anymore. Sasha, come here. Come here.
We love Sasha.
Yeah. Up on the couch, please. Lay down.
They give you a score.
Yes, exactly. And I think they'd score you on things like musicality and things where you'd be like, what? What are they talking about? And it's like, people in Vancouver, the way they do it is like there'll be a council of 12 or whatever in Vancouver, and they review everyone from the East. And then everyone from the West gets reviewed in Ontario by a council over here. And so that way, it's supposed to stop like insider.
Right.
Okay. You know, because everybody knows everyone in the industry. So it's supposed to kind of slow down the same bands getting it because they know this person and they know that person. Even though, folks, that's how the industry works, and it's how most industries work and always have.
So you know.
Right? You meet people, you shake hands, and you try and make an impression. And if you can build something, you know, that makes sense, you do.
See where it goes.
Yeah. So you were saying probably in the fall you'll do the 4th album. We've spoken about your shows.
You just start writing for it.
Yeah. Same thing for us. We're saying the same thing. I mean, I'd like to be way more into it right now, but inspiration is, you know, you can't force it. You got to get the right stuff to come out.
Life gets in the way.
Especially when you're writing genre music, I find, like we are. And like I said, like it's hard for us lyrically. For your singer, for your vocalist, I'd love to talk to him sometime about writing vocals for this, because you can only say baby so many times. You can only talk about the motorbike revving and all these things,
right.
and drinking the whiskey and whiskey in the jarro, all that good stuff. You know, you can only word it so many ways. And so, like the last time I was in the studio, our Ross, our producer, was like, "Warren, you've got like 3 songs about money. Like they're all about money." And I'm like, "Well, I don't have any. So what do you want me to?" So it's a pretty big thing in my mind.
I'm living the life.
And like I got no money, man. So I'm writing songs about it. And he's like, Yeah, well, just so you know, it's reoccurring and it's happening. And oddly enough, Ran Out of Money has been doing good for us on Spotify lately, our little gambling tune. But that was the one he was kind of criticizing. Sometimes I do get into getting into the archetype. Sometimes I fall into writing not what already's been done, but kind of following too closely in that track. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like being creative in rock sometimes is hard. I mean, it's great that you have all these genres now because that helped with it.
Yeah, you never go wrong with love, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
Definitely got songs about love. Yeah. Lots of those. Sometimes I'll joke at shows and I'll say, this song is about love. It's a brand new idea. It's never been done before. It's incredibly novel. It's okay, I know. But it's true, right? It's amazing. And same thing, like Down with the Devil, that's all I did. When I changed the lyrics, I decided, oh, okay, I'm going to change this into a fight about a guy and a girl. And that's all it is. And they're having a disagreement about the relationship, and there's lies involved,
right,
and how that goes down. Instead of it being a bigger picture story, people relate to these simple things like stories of the heart.
Do you write lyrics by themselves before you even
yes.
put them to music?
Yeah, sometimes I write poetry. Sometimes I write just write out poetry and then save it in a TXT document.
Yeah.
And then I'll mix them. Like they'll just be mixed TXT
Oh,
words. And I'll just be there reading off random words and be like, what do you guys think about this? And they'll be like, bad. Like most of the time it doesn't, it's not what works. And sometimes I think I have to rewrite and I'm completely wrong. So that's the other reason I still like going to the producer, because I'm still not 100% right on my intuition. For example, with Crazy, I thought that the lyrics weren't good enough. I thought, there's no way that you make me crazy is good enough for a chorus. And I said that to him. I said, I think we're going to have to change this. And he said, what are you talking about? That's perfectly syncopated, and that's exactly what you want.
Yeah, when you take those words, it doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
But I know the melody you're doing there.
Yeah, like the way you split it up. Yeah. And then he said, and then the way you come back around, that all works. And I was like, okay, all right. Because I thought it was too simple, or you know what I mean? And
space is good too.
Yeah, and it's a huge thing, right? Yeah. Spacing is so important in the music, and like where not to play, where not to sing.
For sure.
It's
Geez.
almost as important as sorry, I dropped my Pepsi. It was not too bad. I do it every day. I'm very clumsy, folks. Oh, look, the dog. See, look, now Sasha's got to come and check and make sure that Dave's okay, because Dave made a sound. Dave's like, oh! You're definitely her favorite, like, out of everybody who's come over so far. But it's episode 13, folks. So I knew, like, there's also a fly today in the room where there hasn't been at all, and that's been bothering me as well. It's just, like, little things. So let me ask you, because I like to ask people this question. Do you like hockey, Dave?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and what?
Well, I'm surprised you let a Leaf fan into your house.
Yeah, I had to let Cliffy see in.
Right, but he says he likes both, right?
Yeah, I know, but I'm almost more skeptical of him because of that,
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Yeah, I can't like both. I despise the Leafs now, but when I was like 6, I liked them, and like I had like a Potvin jersey because I was just old enough to appreciate that series against Gretzky, where it was like the Leaf fans thought, we're gonna win the cup this year and we're gonna beat Gretzky to do it.
It would have been Toronto Montreal in the final,
right?
My God.
And so I was alive and just getting my consciousness to the point where I was like hockey obsessed. I was 6 and I got it. And Felix the Cat made me want to be a goalie. Like seeing that guy's equipment, I was like, oh yeah. But then within a year later, I think the Sens were a thing, and my uncles were season ticket holders.
Right.
And they were bringing me to the games and buying me jerseys. And I was inaugurated into...
Wasn't the first captain an ex-Leaf? They're Brad Marsh?
Marsh,
was he the first captain?
Yeah, and I went to hockey camps where he was there. And one of the great things about Brad Marsh that he taught people, the kids that I remember, was how to be hit in the corners and not get your head wrecked.
How to be hit. Yeah.
And I remember watching him teach them and think, this is brilliant. And now when I watch people go into the corners, I think like some of them are very reckless. Yeah. And the way that he taught kids to go in was, look, I'm never worried about my head. I didn't wear a helmet for a reason. Right. Like, it was because I know I'm not going to make contact with this.
Yeah, that's a smart thing for sure. I remember he was first star once, He zipped around the ice like he was going 90 miles an hour.
He was a huge part early on when they had Marshies.
Some guys just come out, wave. But he did the whole lap because he's not first star very often.
And then Randy Cunningworth was after him. And Randy was a cool guy. And I knew him at the Jacques Martin hockey camps that I'd go to. And those were amazing camps because Jacques now explained to people how he did it. But he would like call people up in the summer like Tugnut or Redden or Yashin or whoever and be like, hey, you're going to come to my camp, right? And they'd be like, I guess so. And like no pay or nothing. Just like he just put them on the spot. Like you're going to show up, right?
And they did it.
And they did it. And then because they knew that he'd
that wouldn't happen now.
Nah, I don't think so. Like he had it pretty good with them and they had it good with him. It was a different time for sure.
I was a Bobby Orr fan when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing else but Bobby Orr, right? Bobby Orr. Even sent him, this is how naive I was. I sent him a hockey card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he may want this. That's how I'm thinking as a kid. Yeah, he might want this. Wasn't even thinking. And he sends me a letter back and he signed it. I said, oh my God. I still got it. But when he got traded to Chicago, okay, it's the Leafs now. Because that's all it was on TV, right?
Yeah, it reminds me of like when I was at my my cousin's. She has a little boy. He turned 5 or whatever, and I was at his birthday party. And the little kids, they come up to you and they've got leaves in their hands, and they just go, "You want this?" And then they open it up, and you're like, "Oh, thank you. Yes, I absolutely wanted those random leaves." You know, it's like it's just you just wanted to give, you just wanted to share. I think, and I think he saw that, and he was like, "Sweet," and he did the right thing by.
Oh yeah.
Like what a cool thing to do, right? Respond to you and be a cool. Hero, somebody to look up to.
So yeah, you probably live and die with your team, and like it sucks for the Leafs the last 7 years. First round, well, they had a second round in there, but
what would frustrate the heck out of me is that you've assembled an incredible offense that is really unmatched throughout the league.
Right.
But your defense and goaltending year after year are just not there. They're not there with the championship level teams.
Yeah. The salary cap hurts too.
I mean, if this year, if Allmark comes in for Ottawa and plays lights out,
you should have good hope there. Yeah.
If he plays with a .915 save percentage, which he's done for 6 years in a row,
that should be good.
We should probably the Leafs will be incredibly jealous. That's what I think.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Because it's difficult to get a good goalie and one that sticks around and is stable. That's so difficult.
And the Leafs will keep Marner. They won't trade him because
he's in control.
He's popular. Oh, he's in control.
He's in control,
and he still sells jerseys for them.
He's not afraid of that market anymore. He's gone through everything. He's been mugged. He's gone through the court systems. He's been dragged through the media, and you know what? He still doesn't care because he's like, I'm getting paid. I got fans here who love me. That's the thing. Like. Yeah. As many people, if you get fans, like it's as many people who love you, hate you. It's like you expect pretty much an equal ratio. And like even on the bigger stages I've gotten off of, I've gotten equal love and hate. You know what I mean? The bigger the stage, the more you're gonna feel that some people aren't vibing you all the time. You know what I mean?
But if they keep him the year, then he's got to do something. If he becomes a free agent, right? If the Leafs can't afford him, then he's got to make a choice.
Yeah, I think they
leave home.
If they can get something for him, they have to try and do that. There's no doubt about it. So when was the last time Big Motor Gasoline played in Ottawa?
Never. Oh, sorry. Before I was in the band, they played a Canada Day festival up here.
Cool.
It was Canada Day. D-E-H. Day. A.
Well, I'll bet you.
But I don't think they've been back since.
I'll bet you that after this, several bands from Ottawa are going to reach out. But I'm going to reach out first. So there, guys, take that.
That'd be great. I know I met the guys from Winter. They're extremely
nice guys.
Cool. Yeah,
nice guys.
Cool, yeah. Who else do I know from Ottawa? Well, I get to know from your podcast.
You were talking about Old James earlier. That's my Joe's old band.
And I love them. 3-piece.
Yeah,
Holy crap.
That'd be cool if they come back and do a show. Yeah. I think a lot of people would go to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of great bands from out here. What about Peterborough? Is there a lot of bands out in your area that maybe aren't known about?
It's kind of dwindled for original bands.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there still is. Nighttime Drive, they're down the highway a bit. Coburg.
Yeah. You enjoy playing at the Urban? I've never played the Urban before.
I enjoy it, but it's small.
Small, and not the same as the Red Dog.
But no, it's not.
Different experience.
And it's about the only venue for loud rock and roll bands. The rest of them are too small. Unless we get into the show places and the theaters, right? We got a couple of them. But you got to work towards them, right?
Yeah.
They're not calling you. And I try and make relationships, an out-of-town band comes in, hey, want some local? And, sometimes they'll say, well, they bring their own.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Which is frustrating
Yeah.
for the local bands in the area. But, hey, today touring is so expensive and so difficult to figure out that I understand. It sucks for me, but I get it. If they figure out a plan and it works, kudos. It's so difficult to do.
Yeah.
But we love rock and roll. I know I love rock and roll, and I've had a lot of fun today with Dave Brown from Big Motor Gasoline. And even though my dog Sasha would not leave Dave alone, he was awesome. And thank you so much, Dave, for coming on. I really hope that everybody goes to www.bigmotorgasoline.com. Follow all their links. Like, they've got all the social media, I believe, at the bottom or under contact. But I'll also put some links up below as well. So I'm putting my hand like over here where it's out of the frame. Links below here. Yeah. So folks, please subscribe to their YouTube channel as well. Check out all their videos. And who knows, maybe in the near future you'll see a Taming Sorry Big Motor Gasoline show. I think it'd be really, really cool. Sasha, oh my gosh. Okay. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'm Warren. Thank you, Dave. You've been watching All Worn Out, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.